Thank you, Commissioner and Karina. Hi, everybody, and welcome to UIE Services for Employers demo. I'm April Hislop with the UI Contributions Bureau, and we're excited today to be demoing our new UIE Services for Employers website, which we believe will make it easier to file quarterly wage reports, respond to benefit claim requests, and maintain your client lists. eServices now has a more modern look and some added functionality to alert you to something when something needs to be completed. The new site can be used on all types of devices, so you'll have the flexibility to use your desktop computer, a tablet, or a phone, and you'll receive the same experience regardless of the device that you're using. We'll also be using the state of Montana's new secure login platform known as Okta to log into eServices, and we'll demonstrate that in the webinar today. Per our governor's initiative to make it easier for employers to access all state agencies in one place, Okta has a secure capability to do this. Before I get started, I'd like to introduce one of our customer service representatives, Katie Tretton. Oh, Katie, we can't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, hello everyone. My name is Katie Tretton, and I'm one of the customer service representatives over here at UIE Services for Employers. I think you all are really going to enjoy this webinar that we have put together for you today. Our new site really does have some great new features for filing reports and also maintaining the access to your client list as well.
Thank you, Katie. She'll be helping with the Q&A as well as Karina and some other folks that we have out there. So like Karina said, please go ahead and ask any of your questions and put those in the chat and we'll get those answered for you. Or at the end of the presentation, if you'd like to raise your hand, we can go ahead and answer those questions verbally for you. This, like she had said as well, will also be on our frequently asked questions website. And then we'll have some other videos that'll be available for you before we or when we go live October 2nd. With that, I am going to go ahead and get started with the demo. We are using a test website, and so there are a little bit of differences that you're not going to see on the regular UI eServices website. So please just keep that in mind. Most of it is things like seeing the date, seeing this information here. But for the most part, everything does look the same as what you're going to see out there in production. But we use the test site just to give these demos. The place that you're going to go is the exact same website that you've been going in the past. It's the uieservices.mt.gov. So our website has not changed. So that will make it easy and convenient to be able to continue using UIE services. The links are very familiar, but I did want to go over some of the things that are on the home page, just in case you've never ever used them, or even if you have, just to let you know if some of those things have been updated. In our employer tools here, we have our link to our employer handbook. We have a link to our third-party authorization form, and then we also have a link to guides, forms, and more. Guides, forms, and more is a great website that has all of our handbooks. So all of our file formats are actually on that website. Those will contain the specifications for the ISESA and the FSET bulk filing file types, for Excel and CSV that you load directly into UIE services. And for any of you that are participating in the fiscal rate exchange, it also has the file format for the fiscal rate exchange. So all of that information is out there. One wonderful thing that I can tell you is none of those file formats are changing with this upgrade. So you'll still be able to use the same ISESA and FSET file formats, the same CSV and Excel, and the same fiscal rate, or if you're a sides broker, the same sides broker client request file format if you've been using that. We also are not changing the way that QuickBooks files with us. So if you do file your clients' reports and payments through QuickBooks, then that information will come across to us exactly the same way. And if you do use our web-to-web service where your agency basically pushes the tax information to our agency, that information will stay the same as well. So the usernames and passwords for any of that in the background to get that service to work will continue to be the same. On our third-party authorization form link, you'll be able to download any new third-party authorization forms for your clients to have them sign them to allow you to have individual access to their UIE services information. Starting at in October, we will have the new form out there, and that is because there are a little bit of a difference with the way that we've kind of shifted the access levels that you have to be able to see your client's information. We're not going to require you to go ahead and submit new authorization forms for any of your clients that you have attached to your web logons currently. But going forward after the 1st of October, if you could please use this new authorization form for any of your clients that you want to have access to UIE services or be able to get any of their mail types sent to you. And like I said, we'll have that starting October, the first part of October. One thing that I did want to let you know is because we are doing a modernized program, we are going to stop accepting faxes. So we aren't going to have a fax machine anymore. Unfortunately, it is kind of old technology anymore. But the one really nice thing is that we do have a lot of tools within e-services for you to be able to send us documents, for you to be able to submit your third-party authorization forms and things like that. And we'll go over some of those methods throughout the webinar. So we do have nicer, more secure ways to be able to send that information if you need to send documents to us. And anytime that you have, excuse me, you have any issues, you can always give us a call and we can help you find the best way to be able to get that information to us. In our UI resources panel, we have our Montana UI homepage link. We have a link to report unemployment insurance fraud. So if you do think that there's some kind of unemployment insurance fraud that is taking place, you can go out to that website and report that information. We have our quarterly newsletters, which we are continually producing every quarter, just like we have in the past. Those are some really great resources, not just for UI tax information that we'd like you to know for any upcoming quarters, but we do include some items from benefits and also items from the rest of the department if there's something big that's coming up. So anytime that you want to go out there and look at those, you can see those and you can see an archive of the old ones that we have out there as well. And finally, we have our view frequently asked questions. Any of the questions that we can't answer today, we will go ahead and get answers for you when we will post them on the frequently asked questions. This will also be where some of the videos are posted and that information will be updated periodically, especially after we go live, designed more towards some of the information that's directly within our new UIE services. We do have some helpful links here at the bottom, which most of them are kind of a repeat of some of these, but I did want to point out if any of you have used the Request Support ID, and that is a help tool for our folks, our customer service representatives, to be able to help you when you have issues when you're in e-services. If you're out there and you get stuck for some reason and you cannot figure out how to move forward, you can go ahead and request a support ID. What that does is that will give you a number, and you can see that either here or if you click on the little question mark here, that's going to give you a support ID as well. And then you can call us at 406 444 3834, which is our helpline. And if you have that support ID, what our folks can do is actually go in and they'll be able to see kind of where you've been going, what you've been doing, and how they can move forward to help you. So it's just a very good tool to be able to get right in there and help you resolve whatever issue you're having as quickly as possible. All right, with that, I am going to go ahead and get started, but I did want to mention, and I know that we talk about this all the time, and I know that you hear this numerous times with anyone who's giving any kind of a computer talk, but we are very serious about computer security just because we do house social security numbers, and of course, that is extremely sensitive information. And unfortunately, with the amount of fraud that we have out there anymore with all of the computer systems, it is a huge concern that we want to make sure that people are as secure as possible when they're using UIE services or really any computer program anymore. So we did want to recommend to make sure that we have one logon per user. So if you don't want to share your passwords, you don't want to share your usernames, you want to have individual accounts. And we do have third-party administrators that do have multiple employees that all need web accounts, and we can have as many as you want out there. Currently, we have some that have as many as 50. And so there is no limit on how many web logons you can have. So each individual can have their own, which just makes everything a lot more secure. So I just wanted to point that out because it does protect you, it protects your clients, their employees, as well as protecting us. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bad guys out there who just want to take information that we don't want them to have. So I just wanted to throw that out there really quick before we continue with the demo. The first thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and sign in with Okta. What this is actually going to do is it is going to connect your e-services account that you're currently using now with your new Okta account or with an existing Okta account if you already have an Okta account. One thing that I am very, very super excited about, and I'm sure that you will be happy about this as well, because I know in the past we were not able to do this for you, is once you do have that connection between Okta and eServices, you will have access to all of the clients that you currently have out there now, and you will also have all of their banking information saved out there. So that was a huge win for us because we know that that is very difficult to have to reset everything up if you have to create something new. And luckily we did not have to do that this time. You're just going to go ahead and click sign in with Okta. Now, because I work for the state, we have Okta accounts that are set up for us because we do use different state agency websites. Um, so if you already have an Okta account, when you get out here, it will bring up a panel similar to this, just asking you to go ahead and put in your credentials. If for some reason you have not signed up for Okta yet, at the bottom of the panel down here, there will be a little sign up link. And you can go ahead and click that. That'll walk you through their registration process, and then you'll be able to come back into UIE services to create your new not create your new web logon, but connect your old web logon to your new Okta account. This is a one-time process, and so after we get done with this, little front end process, then what I'll do is I'll log out and I'll let you see how it looks when you log in for the first time after you do this little process. So I'm just going to log into my Okta account here. And this is going to be the first screen that you see when you do that. I'm not going to go over the new login process just because we are trying to just show folks, if you've already gotten a UIE services account, how you can log in now. There will be videos out there that show the new logon process for someone who doesn't have a UI or doesn't have a web logon. And for anyone who doesn't, if you have any troubles, you can always give us a call if you're having difficulty creating that new web logon. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm just going to go ahead and say, yes, I have previously logged into UIE services, and I'm just going to go ahead and click next. You'll want to make sure that before we go live in October, that you know what your username and your password for UIE services is, because this is the information that you're going to use to connect that Okta account with your old UIE services account. So you'll want to make sure that you have that information. If for some reason you don't, if you log in and find out that you don't know what your username and your password is prior to October 2nd, you can give us a call. We can actually reset that information for you after we verify who you are, and then you'll be able to use that new username and password when you log in to the new UIE services. After October 2nd, because of the Okta front end, we no longer have the capability to reset your passwords, and you will have to contact Okta for them to be able to reset your Okta password, because there won't actually be a password for Okta and a password for eServices. There'll just be one password to Okta to get into both systems. If at this time, if you think you know your username or your password and you haven't forgot either, this very first login does give you the opportunity to click this forgot username or password, and that will have you enter some security information, and then it will have you receive an email, hopefully giving you that information. But this will be the only time that that is available. I'm going to go ahead and type in my user information here for my eServices account, and then I'm just going to go ahead and click Next. This is going to go ahead and bring us to our business role. With TPAs, I know that, although some of you are employers in Montana, some of you are not. And although you are employers, you also have clients that are registered, and you use this, for them and possibly for your own business within Montana if you have one. This business role is pertaining specifically to your business if you have a UI account in Montana. So it will bring it up, but it is just for the access levels that you will receive at that time. The particular account that I have in here today does have a Montana UI account, just so I can kind of show this. And you'll just choose the option that is the best business role for whatever your user is. Now, I know with businesses in Montana, if you're a business and also an accounting firm that has clients, you do have some employees that do not have access to your UI account for your accounting firm. They have access to the clients, but not the UI account number. And so basically, the way that it's set up in UIE services today is the way that that's going to come over tomorrow. So if your employee does not have access to the UI account for the accounting firm in the future, they do not currently. If you do, then you will. There will be a little bit of a change for people logging in the future if they create new web logons, and we'll have that in our FAQ and our videos on the website. For the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to say that I'm an owner, officer, or partner so that I can go ahead and show kind of everything that we have to offer in eServices. And then you're just going to go ahead and click Next. This next tab is just going to give you a summary of all of the login information for your particular web logon. If for some reason the name, the email address, or the phone number is incorrect or not up to date, once we log into UIE services, you'll be able to change that information, and I'll show you how you can do that. It's not connected to your Okta account in any way, so you are able to update that information. It is very important that we have a current email address, especially because all of the communications that are coming from us from UIE services, or if you have access to the benefit requests, all of that information will be sent to that email address. So if you do have a change or if this is inaccurate, I would make sure that you go out there and update that as quickly as possible. Then I'm just going to go ahead and click Submit. This is going to go ahead and give you a confirmation page, which you can go ahead and print if you like to, or you can just click Login Now. Logging in now is going to basically bring you to your main dashboard, and this is where you're going to be able to see your clients and begin your work in UIE services. If you have any questions about any of this, like I said, please go ahead and enter that information into the chat, or we'll be able to answer those questions at the end of the presentation. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to log out of eServices just so that you can see, once you have the Okta connection, moving forward, how that's going to look for you. I'm going to go ahead and sign in with Okta again. I'm going to go ahead and put in my credentials. So now going forward, this is going to bring you directly into your dashboard. So you're not going to have that in-between piece where you're going to have to fill anything out. It's just going to bring you right to where you need to go to be able to start your work. This first tab that you're on is All, and this is actually going to show all of your clients as well as your either POA account if you don't have a UI account number in Montana, or your accounting firm if you do have a UI account in Montana. It will always be there even though you may not have technically access to the UI information within the UI account number. I know that can be a little bit confusing, but it is, once you get in there, I'm sure that you'll understand that it means if you have access to your own UI account number, then you'll have access to do things like file reports, respond to benefit requests, and things like that. If you don't, then it's basically kind of just a generic account so that you can have those clients attached. So this is going to show all of your clients. We do have a filter in here if you want to filter this down, if you have something that you want to particularly look at. Or on this favorites tab, what we have is a nice way to pull some of those people in that maybe you end up looking at quite a bit. That maybe they're clients that you go to quite often, or maybe your favorite, you want to actually put your own business, the accounting firm that you're working for, you want to put that on your favorites tab. So the way that you can do that is on this main screen. You can just click this add to favorites, and that will then go ahead and put that favorite onto your favorites tab. There's also a filter in here, so if you have a lot of favorites, you can filter those out if you like to, but that will all be out there for you. If you want to go ahead and remove something from the favorites, you're just going to click the remove, and they're just going to be out here in the main list. It doesn't remove any of those favorites from the main list. It just adds them to that extra favorites tab. So you can see it here, and you can also see it here. We have a recents tab, so maybe if there's some of those clients that you're going to quite often, you may see them here. There's also a filter in here. Now, I know at the end of the quarter, when you have 200 clients and you're filing all of their clients or all of their quarterly reports within, the last month of the, couple of weeks of the quarter, obviously you may not necessarily find that this is a very helpful screen simply because we know that you're going to have probably 200 recents because you've been to all of them. But the filter does help, but we're hoping with the all tab, the favorites tab, and the recents tab, that's just going to help you be able to keep a better track of any of those clients that you have out there, just to be able to maintain those client lists that you have. We do have what is kind of new, and that is this Action Center. And what this Action Center does is it basically tells you when there's something on the account that needs to be done or that hasn't been done, that there may be a benefit request out there if you have access to that, that there may be web messages that are out there, letters that haven't been read, reports that need to be filed. Now, I understand being that you are TPAs, that something like this, because it shows the action items for all of your clients. So depending on how many clients you have, that could be a very large list. We do have some filter functionality in this list as well. So you can choose UI tax. And let's say we just want to see all the returns that need to be filed for any of our clients. Once you put that filter in there, it will show you that information here. But the nice thing is there's also an action center in each of your individual clients as well. So you don't have to rely on this particular list to be able to find that information. It will also be in each individual client that you go into. Then I'm going to go into the bulk tab. The bulk tab is very similar to what eServices currently has today. A little bit of a different look and feel to it, but the options are the same as what they were or I should say are in eServices today. We have file a bulk report, which is where you're able to file those bulk ISESA and FSET files of quarterly reports. We have the sides broker client list where you can load your client list if you're a broker, and you can submit that to us to be able to add those to your broker list or to your sides requests. And then we do have the rate exchange request that is still out here as well. For any of you that are unfamiliar with the rate exchange, that is a way to receive rates for your clients in bulk. It does require that you sign an MOU with us, and then you would load your clients and we will actually send a file back to you listing out the rates and other information such as whether they're governmental reimbursable, or an experience rated account, things of that nature. If there's any issues with the UI account numbers or anything like that from what you have submitted to us. I highly encourage anyone who wants to get those rates in bulk to please go ahead and check that out on our website, the one with the handbooks out there. It has all the specifications and everything that you need to do to be able to participate in that fiscal rate exchange. I'm going to go ahead and click the file bulk report because I know a lot of you are using this particular request within UIE services today. We do have a link to the Montana e-filing handbook on our website, which again does give you the file formats. And like I said, thankfully none of those formats are changing. So that all that you have to do to be able to file that report or submit that file is you're just going to click Add Attachment, and then you're going to choose whether it's an FSAT or an ISESA file. You'll put the description of the file that you've got out there. Then you're going to be able to load your file. Then you can go ahead and say OK. And it's going to go ahead and load that file right here on the request for you. If for some reason you accidentally pull the wrong file or you're not ready to submit it today, you can always click this remove and it will go ahead and remove that file from the request. And then you can just go ahead and click submit. That's going to go ahead and give you that confirmation page, which I know a lot of you are used to seeing. And then you can either print that or click return, and that's going to take you back to the bulk services tab. In a little while, I'm going to go to the submissions tab so we can actually see that request that's been submitted so that you can see that out there. The process for those bulk files works just like it does today. So when you submit that request today, we will process that in the evening, and then we will go ahead and push that information back out to UIE services. If you have individual access to each of your clients, then you should be able to see that updated information, those reports on each of those individual clients has been submitted and posted. If you're a TPA who just uses the functionality to submit the file, but you don't have individual access to each of your clients, you'll be able to see that that request has been processed when we go into the submissions tab. The second thing that I'm going to show you is this request employer account access. For any of you who are who have, or I should say probably most of you who have clients that are attached specifically to your web logon so that you have individual access to their information, are probably familiar or possibly familiar with this request. What this request is a way for you to electronically submit your authorization form to us so that we can add your client to your web logon. Because of us not being able to have the fax machine anymore, this is a way that you can electronically send those requests to us. They do come across right away for the web logon that they're submitted onto, and they are a higher priority in our workload. So we do try to get those or to those as quickly as we can to get that client added to your web logon as quickly as possible. Currently, the way that we are doing that, if you have multiple web logons, is it is a manual process for us to go out there when we receive an authorization form, and we do have to add individually, manually, each of those clients to each of those web logons. Or I know that we do have some accounting firms where you may have a home office, let's say in Helena, and then you have other offices you have an office in Missoula and you have an office in Kalispell, an office in Great Falls. And so sometimes you don't always have the same clients. So you want different clients attached to different web logons. We'll still have the capability of being able to do that, but one big change, and as soon as we're done with this request, I'm going to show you how you can maintain your own client list. When we have one of these, or even if we receive an authorization by paper and you want that client added to your list of clients and all of your web logons, for the customer that submits this request, we will be able to add that client for you right away. So you'll be able to see that as soon as it's added. For all the rest of the folks on your web logon, overnight, that is going to push all of those new clients to those web logons. So technically, we're saying that all web logons will have access to all the clients for your FEIN, for your accounting firm. What you will be able to do, however, is you'll be able to take off any of the ones that you don't want on your individual web logon. So if you're only responsible for these clients and this person is responsible for these clients, then you can kind of customize that list the way that you wanted. For any of the clients that you have on your lists today, when they go over to e-services, any of that information will remain the same. So that's not going to push all the clients to everyone to start out with. This will just be for any incoming after October 2nd. I hope that makes sense. I know it is a little bit complicated, so if you do have questions, please feel free to reach out to us to understand how that process is going to work. And as soon as we get this request, I will show you how we can maintain those lists for you. I'm just going to go ahead and enter the few questions that we do have out here. We do require the FEIN and the UI account number of the client that you'd like to attach. And then here, this is just like that bulk filing tab. So you're just going to click the add attachment. It automatically says it's an authorization form. You can go in here and put that information, whatever information you want for the document that you're submitting. And then I'm just going to go ahead and choose my authorization form. I'm going to click OK, and that's going to go ahead and attach that authorization form. Now, if you forget to attach that authorization form, it will throw it in error. So you'll remember, oh, I didn't submit that authorization form. So you'll know that you need to go ahead and do it. Same thing as that bulk filing tab. If you realize, oh, I went ahead and submitted or attached the incorrect authorization form, you can go ahead and click remove. Or if everything is good to go on here, then you're just going to go ahead and click next. It's just going to ask to make sure that you're authorized to submit the request, and you can just go ahead and click submit. That's going to go ahead and give you that confirmation page. And that's when that request is going to come over to us for us to be able to work that for you and add that client to your web logon. The next item that I'm going to show you is how you can go ahead and maintain those lists to be able to have the clients that you want on your list. So to be able to do that, you can click this Manage My Profile tab here. Now, this is also where you can update the name on your web logon, your email address, and your phone number. So if you want to update any of that information at any time, you can just click the link below whatever type of information it is, and it's going to go ahead and allow you to go ahead and save that. There's also an action center on the profile as well, and this is specific to the web logon. So if you have unread web messages out there, they will show in a couple of different places, and they will also show directly on here for you. It's this more tab where you can actually manage a few different types of information that I'm going to show you today. Manage My Access is actually going to show you the list of clients that you have out there. So when we start this new process where it's pushing out clients, maybe they're Jane's clients, but they're not your clients. So Jane wants to leave that customer on her client list, and you want to go ahead and be able to take that customer off of there. What you can do is you can click on uh, the access type here, tax and benefits, tax only or benefits only. So you can go ahead and click that. And that gives you this cancel my access to this account. So this isn't going to cancel it from everyone attached to the payroll company. This is only going to remove the access to your specific logon. So I can go ahead and click cancel my access here. I'm just going to go ahead and say okay. It says that it's been canceled. And when I go back to my list, you can see that that individual or that customer is no longer on my list of clients. If for some reason you do need that client added back on to your list of clients, perhaps, someone else was taking care of those clients and maybe they moved to another position or they're out on medical leave or something, and you're going to be helping out and taking care of their clients while they're out of the office. You would want to go ahead and send us a web message, and I'll show you how you can send web messages a little further in the presentation, or you can give us a call, or you can send us an email at uieservices@mt.gov. Any of those things will come across to us. You just need to let us know the web logon and the clients that you need added back in there. And as long as we have an authorization form on file, we can go out there and re-add those to the web logon. Unfortunately, the reason that we can't is just for that process that if you take them off of your web logon, we don't want to constantly be pushing them back out so that you'd have to remove them every day. So if you do need them added back on, please just contact us and we will get those added back to your web logon. The other item that I wanted to show you that is very nice in this new system is this manage additional logons. So currently, the way that it kind of works is that once your employee has signed up for UIE services, that the only way to change any of their access levels, anything that they have on their web logon, has to be done by someone here in-house. So you have to give us a call, you have to send us a web message, you've got to send us an email, something so that we know what you need and we can help you do that. There are a few extra capabilities out here to allow you to do some of that maintenance yourself for your actual employees for the accounting firm. So if you have multiple logons out there, what you can do is you can either give them or take access away to the UI account number for the accounting firm. So it doesn't allow you to change the access that they have to to any of their clients, but it does allow you to change their access levels for the accounting firm's UI account number. And then it also will give you access to be able to do a couple of other things. You have to be an administrator to be able to do that. And so what we have done, because we didn't have really such a thing in the e-services that we have now, is any of the web logons that had the logons the longest have now been marked as administrators. That administrator can go out there, and we did that on open web logons, so ones that are still currently being used. So what you can do is you can actually go out there. If you are an administrator, if you want to assign other people to be administrators, you can do that as well. And I'm about to show you how to do that. So we have Katie's weblog on here. We can go ahead and click into this and we can see, okay, for Autumn Accounting, she does have access to my account, and she has tax and benefits access out there. So I know, okay, she's an account manager, so she's not an administrator, so she can't do anything with anyone else's web logons for the business. And then she also has tax and benefits access out here. So we can go ahead and click manage account access. And what that does is that's going to allow us to change whether she's an account manager or an administrator. And you can do that here, and or you can cancel the access level for Autumn Accounting, or you can change what access level she has. So let's say maybe she is really should only have benefits only access. You only need her answering the benefit request for information. You can go ahead and update that information here. And once you save that, that is going to take away the access for me to be able to change some of those things for her. You can also go ahead and end date her weblog on altogether. And so there is a link out there that says cancel access, and that will be access to her web logon. And I apologize, I should have done it in the opposite order so that you could have seen that that canceling of her actual web login. So it used to be you would give us a call and say, you know, this employee no longer works for us. We do want you to go ahead and close their web logon because we don't want them having access to our clients anymore. One of those links in that group does allow you to do that. Now, if they were set up like an administrator, like I have Katie set up now, you would need to go ahead and contact us, send us an email, send us a web message, just letting us know this person is no longer an employee. Can you please go ahead and close their UIE services access? Again, if you have any questions, please go ahead and put those in the chat. So now I am going to go ahead and we are going to go into one of our clients. And I'm going to go ahead and go into Ghostly Gardens just so that you can kind of see the information and how that has changed for each of your individual clients. In each of the individual clients, they do have a summary springboard that will come up, and that is going to show them anything that needs to be done. So it's kind of like a summary of what's going on with the account as well as an action center, kind of all in one. For anything that is in red, that means that there's something that is due to be done right now that is trying to alert you to make sure that you know, address whatever that issue is right away. We have this orange panel, which will show up if you have any requests for information for any sides requests, or we do have an internal fact-finding process as well now, and we'll go over that in a few minutes so that you can see those processes. We have an account panel, and what this account panel is basically dealing specifically with the UI account. So this would be where you would file your quarterly reports, where you'd be able to see those quarterly reports had been submitted, you'd be able to see payments, anything of that nature. So currently, when you're working with individual clients, you click into their UI account number and it kind of brings you here. This way it's all at the beginning, and so you're able to be able to see that right here to start out with. And then we have our employer information panel, and this is going to show you your rates. You can view benefit charges if you have access for that. And it's also another way to get to any of those benefit requests that you may have sitting out there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on File Now, and we're just going to go ahead and file a quarterly report. Now, this process has not changed at all, so this will be very familiar for any of the people that are filing quarterly reports for each of your clients in UIE services. If you do not have a report that has any wages for a client, so you just need to file a zero wage report, it will be the same process. You'll just click No, you'll click Next, and that's going to allow you to file a none report to us. For the purposes of the demo, I'm just going to go ahead and say, yes, we do have wages that we want to file for this customer. And then we're just going to go ahead and click next. As you'll see, this is very, very similar to what we're looking at now. It's just a little easier to see everything, a little more friendly on the eyes, I like to say. The panels are broken apart a little bit easier just to be able to see that. But the functionality really is the same. The number of covered employees are up here. Your gross, excess, and taxable wages are still going to be automatically calculated when you put your information in for the wages. So that has not changed. Because of the total rate and the amount of the taxable wage base limit that is being imported in here as well for the individual account that you're working on, it will also automatically continue to calculate the tax due just like it has in the past. We still have the data entry functionality out here for any of these socials that you want to put in here. So you can still go ahead and type that information into these fields. And you can type as many out there as you want. We do have the delete functionality, and I'll go ahead and delete this customer because we don't. I have some other ways that I'm going to show you, but on any of the methods that we show you, this little X just means that you can delete that. You can click yes, and that's going to go ahead and delete that employee out of the wage listing. We also have this saved draft. So UIE Services does time out. It's right around 15 minutes, I believe. So if you do get interrupted, if you have a customer come in and you're working on something like this, you decide that you're going to go to break and you've already entered some of the information into this form, I would definitely recommend going ahead and clicking Save Draft. This is going to allow you to save all the work that you've done and be able to come back to it later so that you can finish that work. So just a good idea if you think you might be away from the system for a very long period of time, just to make sure that you don't lose the work that you're doing. We also have the Load Previous SSNs tab, and it's now up here in this panel instead of down here where it used to be. And if you click that, that's going to work in the same way that it has worked in the past, where it's going to import the Social Security numbers, the last names, and the first names of any of the employees that you had the previous quarter. If you had to file a zero wage report, so you may have had employees first quarter, but you didn't have them second quarter, and now you're filing a third quarter report, unfortunately, those won't import because you didn't have any wages on the previous quarter. But for any of those quarters where you did, it will automatically import that information for you. The only information that you have to update is the amount of wages that they have earned. You can delete employees out of here just in the same way I showed before by clicking that X. That'll take any of the employees that you no longer have on your list out, or you can add employees if you have new ones here. And you can add their wages. The final way that I'm going to show you that you can do this, and it will also give you edits. So I went ahead and accidentally typed the social security number in incorrectly. So it does give you some edits when you are keying this information, such as duplicate SSN. I'm just going to go ahead and import my file. Now we do have the Montana Unemployment Filing Handbook, or e-filing handbook, excuse me, and that will go ahead and give you the file formats for the CSV and the Excel file format to be able to load your customers in here, or the employee reports in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and load an Excel file format in here. And those file formats are the same. So it does include the cover, or the number of covered employees. And then in the file format is the social security number, the last name, first name, and the amount of gross wages for each individual employee. That information will be imported directly into your file. And of course, you can see now that we have the gross, excess, and taxable have been calculated. And per the rate and the taxable wage base limit, you can see the amount that we owe here. You can also add employees to this. So if you have an employee that for whatever reason, maybe you forgot them on the spreadsheet that you were loading, you can go ahead and put that individual in here. That information will be updated in your totals, and then you can go ahead and click next if everything looks good. It's again going to ask you to confirm your submission, that you're authorized to submit the report, and you're going to go ahead and click submit. What's really nice about this is we used to have that pop-up box, or we currently have that pop-up box that requires you to put your password in to be able to move forward, and we don't have that anymore. We're just allowing you to submit as long as you are the authorized individual and it's within your own web logon. So I'm just going to go ahead and click submit. And this is going to give our confirmation page. The confirmation page is similar, if not almost exactly the same, with our little graph out there that has the amount of tax due, if there was any penalty or interest that were assessed, if there's a credit on the account, and what the expected quarter balance is at the end of that. We also have the same options from the confirmation page that we do today. Most of those are kind of housed up here, but they're all kind of down now here now. You can navigate to make a payment from here. You can print a payment voucher if your customer is going to be paying by check. So you can print the voucher and the customer can send that in with their check payment. You can print a copy of the submitted report. You can print a copy of this confirmation if you would like, and then you can return to the main menu. For this demo, I'm just going to go ahead and click into make a payment. We're very excited that we have our credit and debit card functionality back, because we didn't have it there for a little while. Being that you are third-party administrators, I don't know how many of you for clients are probably submitting payments using an ACH debit or a credit card, but we do have it available. So if your customers, if you file the quarterly reports for your customers and they normally make payments, if they do want to come out here and make a credit or debit card, they can create, or debit or credit card payment, they can come out here, create their own web logon, and they can make a debit or a credit card payment if they choose to do so. What I'm going to demonstrate today, just because I know most of you, if you are making these payments within UIE services, you are using the ACH debit from checking or savings account functionality. The blocker number, if you do have a customer who has an ACH debit block on their bank account, that blocker number, that identification number, will remain the same. So your clients do not have to go back to their banks and let them know that that number has been updated. It will remain the same. Just going to go ahead and click next, and I'm going to go ahead and click bank account. This is going to take me to the new payment screen. This is what this looks like now, instead of having that check that's out here. It wants you to confirm the amount of the payment that you're making. You can change that payment date, and you can still post date that payment up to 90 days in the future. So you can go ahead and still schedule that for the due date, even if you want to submit the report today, and we won't go and take that payment out until that time. And then you'll go ahead and enter the routing number. Because we are in our test system, the folks that are designing our system are kind to us. So we have this popular populate routing number in there because we do have to have a legitimate routing number when we're doing the testing for this. So that will not be available at all in production. It is literally just a testing tool that they have built for us specifically. But it is very nice because then we have some that will pop in there without having to search for those. Then it will go ahead and ask the customer's or excuse me, account number. It'll ask you to confirm that. You can choose whether it's checking or savings. Now, if I had a customer that I had in e-services today, and now I am doing the payment for them in the new e-services tomorrow, if I had a bank account that was saved as a default bank account for my employer, when I come out here, that information will automatically populate in here just as it has in the past. So you wouldn't have to re-enter that information. But if you haven't entered a new one, or if a customer does have a new account and you do need to update that information, you can then save that information as a default if you like, and that's what I'm doing here. You can also rename that account if your customer has a specific account, or if you'd like to put a specific name on there so you know whose account that belongs to. And then you can go ahead and click Next. This is very similar to exactly the way our confirmation for submission is currently. We do have to put in a password currently, but it does give you a small breakdown of the amount of the payment, the scheduled payment date, the name of the bank, and the account number. And when I click Submit, that is going to fully submit that payment to Department of Labor, and that is going to go out here and give you a full summary of the payment details of the information that you sent out there. We also, which is new functionality for us, will be sending out an email with those payment details on the email to whoever made the payment, whoever's weblog on with the email address that we have on file. So you will get an email with these details. You can pass that on to the customer. You can print that information out. You can delete it. This information will remain in e-services, so you'll be able to see anything that you've submitted in the past, but we'll also be sending that email confirmation that a payment was made. Now I'm just going to go ahead and click return. Like I said, if you have any questions for any of this, some of this is probably a review for any of you that have been going out there and filing quarterly reports, just because the functionality is basically the same, that it just looks a little bit different is the biggest thing. One very new piece that I wanted to point out, and I know that a lot of you may not be responding to benefits requests for information. I know that if you are, a lot of you are using our brokers, and so you're using the broker sides exchange, where it's kind of a file to file, a web to web kind of thing, and that will continue to be the same. But for any of the folks that go out there for your clients and actually answer sides requests, any of those requests that come through, we do have new functionality for that piece. We now will have sides, but we will also have this internal fact-finding module that is built in within e-services. It will automatically come up when there is a response that is due, and this will come up because what will happen is, regardless of whether you're signed up for sides or not, if you have access to benefits, you will receive a notification that there's a response out here to respond to. So even if you weren't signed up for sides, you'll still get notification if you have access to benefits within UIE services. So that is something that is a little bit new as well. Currently, on the authorization form, we did require that you put sides contact information if you're going to be responding to those requests for your employer or for your client. And now basically we don't have individual sides contacts. If you have access to that individual client account in UI services and you have benefits access, it will send an email to the email that we have on file. So it may notify many people, and you'll just be able to come out here and see which request needs to be responded to. The first one that I'm going to do is I'm just going to click in here to show you just the front page of our internal fact finding. We're hoping that this is going to be a lot more specific to questions in Montana. With sides, we're working nationally and we're working with all the other states in the country to try and encompass everything that every state really needs. And so the real pull and the real great thing about having this be internal is this literally is anything that Montana unemployment insurance benefits needs. Um, and so if you are completing this request instead of going out and completing a sides request, please do not respond to the sides request because you will get both of them, but it's your option how you'd like to respond. You can do that here, or you can go out to sides, and that will still navigate you to the National e-response website, and you'll still be able to go out there and respond to those requests as you have in the past. We just don't want to have you do both of them, or I don't want you to think that you have to do both of them because you do not. You just have to do one or the other. So then I'm going to go ahead down here and I'm going to show you this view more employers details. What this is going to show you is this is going to show you the tax rates, and there's a few places that you can actually see these tax rates, but I know that it is important for you to be able to see them, and so they are out here under that tab as well as in other places. You can see any of the benefit charges for the customer out here if you have access to that. If you have access, you'll have any of the determinations out there. You can appeal to any of those employee determinations. So this is another area where you would be able to see any of the determinations and be able to respond to those internal fact-finding requests. For sides, if you click on this view all account services, this is going to give you access to sides, and you can see this is just another way to get to it. In our employer information panel, we have view rates, determinations, and charges, which is the tabs that you were just looking at. And then we have our view sides request. So when you go into the sides request, it is exactly the way it was before. You'll have a list with the type of exchange that it is. And when you click the respond link, it is going to take you out to the sides e-response website so that you can complete that response just as you have in the past. The internal fact finding is going to have those same exchanges, so we'll still have the monetary and potential charge notices, the separations, the additional information, the earnings verifications, and the decisions and determinations. So, you'll be able to see any of those in both areas. And again, it's your option how you would like to respond to those. If you have any questions about that, please go ahead and put that in the chat. I know that we are working with benefits. They truly are the experts on, the questions that are being asked and things like that. We're more of a doorway to help you get out there and respond to those. But I know, or I believe that there's some videos that are planned on being made to kind of help walk customers through some of that if you do get hung up on questions. But if you do have any problems, please go ahead and give us a call at the 444-3834 number, and we will help walk you through, or if we can't help you, we will certainly find someone who can help you with whatever questions that you have regarding any of those responses. The next thing that I want to show you is your manage payments tab that is out here. You can go ahead and click in this, and I'm not going to go in great detail, but this is where you can see those payments, whether they've been made. If they're sitting out here, once they've been posted, it'll show that they've been posted. You can actually do some filters on here if you want to. And this will show any of the payments that have been made in other ways than by ACH debit through e-services as well. So if you're paying for a client via ACH credit, if you're filing, in a bulk file format through QuickBooks, anything like that, if they're paying by check, you would be able to see those payments posted out here once they are on our system. You can also manage reports. So the manage reports tab here is going to show you the quarters, the quarterly report. You can go ahead and view the reports, previous reports, or you can amend a report if you want to. So you can click amend and report any, or excuse me, amend any of the information that was initially reported to us. And you can go ahead and submit that amendment, and that'll come over to us to update the client's account if something has changed. And just like it has been in the past, we do have some information out here, depending on the access level that you have to the client. You can request abatements and refunds. You can activate UI account numbers. You can set up the method of payment election. We also have some of those helpful links that are on our homepage are also within e-services. So a lot of that functionality is the same. Most of it just looks a little bit different. Then we have this More tab that's out here. What the More tab has is just a few links of everything else that are generally in other places that you can get to. One thing that I've always really liked about e-services through the product that we have now is that there's many ways to get where you want to go. So it's really up to you and how you like to do things to get there and get the work done. So on the More tab, you can actually view these letters, and those letters are available for all the access types now. And I know that in the past, in e-services, like currently, sometimes you may not be able to see those letters out there. Now you will be able to see those, and you'll be able to see some of those benefit letters as well if they pertain to this particular employer. You can search the submissions. So the submissions are going to be where we have anything that has been submitted within UIE services. So this will include any of the quarterly reports that you've submitted, any bulk files, any payments that you've processed, any of the benefit requests that you've completed. So you'll be able to see that information out here. Now, because I did the bulk request on the actual TPA and not within this particular customer, that's why that bulk file isn't showing up here, but it will show under the UI information for the particular accounting firm. If you want to be able to review any of those submissions, you just click on the link and then you can actually walk through that request and be able to see it. For a payment, if you really didn't want to make this payment, this is where you can actually go ahead and delete the payment. It will ask you if you want to delete it, you can say okay. If I go back to my submissions, now I have it deleted because I deleted this request, and then I can go back in and remake that payment if I need to. Any pending means that they just haven't been processed yet. We usually do most of the processing around 6 p.m. in the evening. So most of the time, once you submit something today, you'll be able to see the result of that tomorrow. All right, and then I am going to go ahead and show you how you can view and send web messages. So web messages are basically secure email. I'm sure that you've used those, on your bank website or other websites that you're using. It is a great feature to have because then we can put sensitive data within, and there is kind of no middleman. So anything that you submit within e-services goes directly into our system. It doesn't go anywhere else. So it is secure. So you can send attachments or ask questions with things like social security numbers in them, and that information isn't going to be compromised like it is with regular email. A lot of this is familiar for any of you that have used email at all. We have an inbox. We have our outbox for any messages that have been sent. You can archive any of these messages as you like, or if you get a lot of web messages, you can go ahead and search those messages if there's something that you're particularly looking for. I'm going to go ahead and send a message. Most of this is very similar if you've sent us web messages in the past. It just looks a little bit different, and there's a few more separations between asking a claims question and asking a UI account question. What's really nice with us having the integrated system with both UI tax and UI benefits is that, it just makes sure that anything that you're submitting within e-services now is going to get to the right people a lot quicker. Because we were using two systems in the past, we still were able to get that information to them. It just wasn't quite as efficient. If you click on the benefits Web message type, it does give you some options for job attachment updates, size question, or benefit claims charging. We're just going to go back here. If it's for a UI account, then it's going to give you all the options of the types of messages that you can have for the tax portion of what you're doing. We do recommend that you try to choose what best fits the question that you have. And the only reason that we say that is simply because when these web messages come over to us, they do come over right away. So it is the highest on our priority for customer service to be able to get those answers back to you just as quickly as we can. So depending on the type of question that you have, if you choose the right category, most likely it's going to go to the correct person quicker, and that just means a quicker response for you. This format is the same. It will just ask you to put a subject in there. It'll have you type something in the body of the message. And then here at the bottom, if for some reason you did have some kind of a document that you wanted to send us that was paper, you could actually add that attachment right now. They just ask you to put a description in there. You can choose whatever the file is. And we have lots of file formats that you can attach. So PDFs, Excels, Word documents, things like that. Once your message is ready, you're just going to go ahead and click submit. It's just going to give you a little confirmation that that message has been sent. And now you can see that in your outbox that it has been sent. So once you have a new message, it will send it into UIE services and you'll be able to come out here and check any of those web messages that you have. So it is a great method to be able to send any of that information that you used to be faxing. You could actually send it as a secure email message through our web messages. And again, it is all secure. It is all safe for you to be able to send sensitive information through UIE services. The final thing that I am going to show you is the settings tab for third-party administrators who have access to your clients. This isn't something that you can change for your clients, but your clients, if they do have a web logon, can change their paper setting as to how they receive notification. So if I'm an employer and I do not want letters coming to me anymore, I can choose this Go Green option. And if I do so, I can change that in my own eServices web logon, or they can contact us and request that we change it for them. What that means is there are a few documents that we would still send out in the mail, but the majority of them we would not. What we would do is we would submit, or once they were created, they would be published out here into UIE services on that letters tab. And then an email would be sent to anyone who has access to that, just letting you know that there are letters out there to be reviewed. It would also show up in your summary here as an item, as well as in your action center to read the letter. So there may be some folks that do go out there and choose this. So if they do and you start getting emails letting you know that there's letters on a client, this would be the reason why. It is just because they have chosen to change their method of receiving information from us, from the department, electronically instead of by paper. I think that is really everything that I wanted to touch base on, but this is the time now. If you wanted to raise your hand and you wanted to ask a question, you're more than welcome to do that. Karina and Katie, was there any questions that you wanted to address verbally, or that you would like me to possibly run through a process so the customer can kind of see what that looks like?
Well, I did wanna we had a couple of themes going on in there, so I don't know if I can explain it any better, but I know there might be a little bit of confusion with when you're logging in and what you're gonna see and what clients are gonna be attached and all of that when you go into e-services on the second. And the great thing is one of the things it's easy for us to say this is a new system, but in all honesty, when it comes to UIE services for employers, this isn't a new system. It is a large upgrade. So we're not migrating or converting anything for tax. So everything that you have in e-services today, you will have in e-services after the 2nd of October as well. It'll just look a lot different and the way you'll maneuver around it will be a lot different. So all of the clients that you currently have attached to your web logon today will be attached to your logon tomorrow. So there isn't any, you do not have to send in new authorization forms for all of those existing clients. Obviously, if you get new clients down the road, yep, we'll need an authorization for those. But your existing clients that you have today, all of that is going to be attached to your login tomorrow. So I know there's a little bit of confusion with the Okta stuff. And so you're not really creating a new logon into eServices. You're going to use your existing logon that you have for eServices, and you're going to connect it to an Okta one. So if you already have an Okta logon today, that's great. On October 2nd, all you'll have to do is connect that Okta logon to your existing eServices logon, and boom, you're in and you're running like Flint. So all of your customers and everything will be attached, and you'll be able to go. If you don't have an Okta login today, that is something that you'll need to set up. You could set it up today if you want to by going to this okta.mt.gov, and you could actually set it up today, and then you're just ahead of the game on the second, and you just connect your Okta and your existing eServices logon. So I hope that helped clear that up for someone, because I know there was a running theme in a lot of the questions, and that was some of the things that was being asked, is some confusion about how that's going to work. So hopefully that has helped. But if not, please raise your hand and I will make it available so that you can ask your question. There was also someone out there that asked, and I'm sorry I didn't know the exact answer at the time, but I did get confirmation if yes, e-services will allow you to submit um, uh, tins for the SSN on the quarterly report. So if your SSN starts with a 9, it will allow you to submit with those. There's other SSN rules in there that it is going to stop you, because we're trying to make sure that those SSNs are valid and not bogus SSNs, but it will allow you to do it with a 9. So I think I see one person. Tina, it looks like you might have a question. So I'm going to allow you to talk. And I think you will need to unmute to ask your question. Okay, maybe she didn't have a question. Anybody else that's out there that might have a question? See, I'm not seeing any other hands raised. Okay, we hope to have this webinar up, and we'll download it after we're done recording here, and we'll get it posted up on our website. And hopefully if you go to UIE services, you'll be able to link to it from there, but you can also get it by going to our handbooks, forms, and more page, and it will be hanging out there for you um, when we have it available. Oops, it looks like Chelsea might have a question. So Chelsea, I'm going to allow you to talk. I think you'll have to unmute yourself now to talk.
Hi, Karina. I just had a quick question. I don't know if this was already discussed. Do we need TPA access in order to file the quarterly filings for the clients?
Um, yes and no. If you're filing through e-services, then yes, just like you would today. But if you're filing through FSET, or using our server to server file exchange, then you'll continue to do that as you do today, or QuickBooks like you do. That's just the e-file. So are you using either of those today, or you're using e-services today?
I think we're using the other sites. We're not using the e-filing sites.
Okay, so you're using like FSET then, and just submitting
Yeah.
a bulk file. And none of that is changing. You'll still be able to do all of that.
Okay.
And as April said earlier, none of our file formats for ICESA or FSET or ACH credit or any of those other file formats that you may have already set up for us, nothing is changing. The biggest change for employers with this upgrade, and then bringing in the benefit stuff all into one system. The biggest change is just going to be the look and feel of e-services, but everything else is remaining the same.
Okay, thank you so much for confirming.
Anybody else with questions? All right, well, thank you all very much for joining us today. We look forward to October 2nd. I think you guys, once you get in there, are really going to enjoy the new look and feel of e-services and some of the added features with being able to submit requests for information for claims easier. Oh, looks like we do have another question that just popped up. I'm gonna allow you to speak if you want to unmute yourself.
My name is Amgad Farag. I'm from Connect Bay our Bureau Service. First of all, I would like to thank you so much for the presentation, and I have two questions. You did talk about the big change for the employers. What is the big change for us as a TPAs? And does the next webinar for the TPA will be different than what you presented today, or it will be just a repeat for what we hear today?
The sessions next week will be a repeat of the ones that we had this week. And we will also have the webinars online. But the biggest difference, and your question as far as what's different for TPAs and employers, it kind of depends upon, as a TPA, how you're doing business with us today. We do have some TPAs that do log into e-services every day and file individually for each of their clients. And if you're a TPA who does it that way, then it's the look and feel of e-services and how you're going to get in there and how you're going to file those reports. That's the change for you. If you are a TPA that uses our bulk filing and submits that through our server to server file exchange, none of that is changing. So in some ways, nothing will change for you. So I'm not sure which method that your agency is using, but that's the big difference. Is just if you're someone that's using UIE services for employers, that's where you're going to see the difference.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Jen, you might have a question too. Someone allow you to talk if you want to unmute yourself.
I just had two. One was a follow-up to the question you answered for me earlier. So the only way to do bulk payments is to do the ACH credit, right? There's not an ACH debit as a bulk.
There is
Correct.
if you're submitting your reports through FSET, it is kind of a bulk way because you would be submitting, if you're using the FSET file format, the FSET file format allows you to include ACH debit payments inside that file. So when you submit that file, you're submitting one file, we grab those ACH debit payments and we handle those for ACH debit. But that would be the only way to do bulk ACH debit payments is through the FSET file.
Okay, thank you so much. And the second question, I missed it on the login screen when you were showing us the actual website. But on the current UIE services website, there's a register for a UI account link on that homepage where you're logging in. Is that going to be in the same place on the new one?
No, it'll be a little bit different on the new one. And part of the reason for that is every customer, in order to get into e-services to do anything, is going to have to first log in through Okta. So once I'm assuming, Jen, you probably already have a login to e-services. So once you log into e-services, you will see the option there to register another employer. So if you're registering one of your clients, there will be a tab. I believe it is under the More. April, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's under the More
I believe
tab
so.
that will say register, you want to register one of your clients. So you will click there to register your client. If it's an employer that's going out to the websites to register their new business, they will sign in through Okta first and then get the same tab that says, okay, I want to register my business now. So it'll actually be inside of the logon where you'll see that and not straight from the home screen.
So setting up a login will allow them to if they do not already have one.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, it looks like Wendy, you might have a question. I'm gonna mark you have to unmute yourself. Wendy, did you have a question?
I apologize. I
That's okay.
accidentally hit the button.
Oh, that's okay. Any additional questions? Okay. All right, like I said, thank you everybody for joining you. We will get this video up online in the next day or two. I'm also trying to take a lot of the great questions that you guys asked today and get those put on our FAQs as well, so that they'll be out there if you want to refer to them. And then stay tuned for more information as we get closer to October 2nd. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you.